Andrew McCart, IFLTV. What a beautiful day it is, and I'm delighted to be joined by Gareth A. Davies. Sir, how are you?
Right, I'm going to start it with love and peace to you, and I'll do that when I'm running out of time because we know what happened. Yeah. Oh,
Uh, yeah, you want a bit of this, Gareth? I don't think you do now.
oh, you've got your little meme now to go on it.
Yeah, there you go. That's that one there. That's the one there. That's the one I want. That one there. Yeah. What a weekend. We had a Friday night show in Times Square. What a historic event that was in terms of the location and stuff like that. And obviously, we had Canelo making a little bit of history, becoming a two-time undisputed super middleweight champion of the world. So we will talk about all of that. We'll start in New York. Now, summarize New York for me, Gareth, before we break it down.
Um, Two very disappointing performances. Ryan Garcia looked like he needed a tune-up and wasn't there. I understand he earned 20 million US dollars for the fight, but he got upended by Rolly Romero early, and he just looked like a shell of himself to me. A part of me afterwards thought he looked like he needed a tune-up fight, but then when I saw Devin Haney fight as well, and he looked gun shy against Jose Ramirez and was on his bike a lot of the fight, I thought afterwards they probably should have put them straight in with each other
Mm.
because maybe that fight is lost now. Um, but it was very bizarre performances from both of them. Tio Lopez looked very good, but he didn't listen to his dad once in the corner. I don't know if you noticed. His old man was saying, "Get the jab out there," and he wasn't. He was just enjoying himself in that kind of elusive, bullish way of his, where he likes to entertain. The young Japanese fighter, I can't remember his name now, looked like a talent. It looked like they'd set it up very well. For my part, I think they missed a trick not doing their first event at Madison Square Garden, which is a very special place. Obviously, they pulled all the stops out to do it in that narrow band that is Times Square that we all know very well. Um, it looked fine on TV, but you've got to say that given how much money was invested in the show, we didn't get those fights we really wanted. Conor Benn strutting around like the king of the
Superstar.
world, he,
Yeah.
superstar, um, which he's fully entitled to, and really I bring that up because it just showed what a losing fighter could get from an event, as opposed to what these three names didn't produce on the night. Barboza looked a level below Tio Lopez, and Rolly Romero looked like the hungrier fighter against Ryan Garcia.
Mm.
Um, I'm not going to be overly critical of the venue because they tried their very best with it. It will always be an iconic venue, but the fights didn't deliver.
Yeah, I want to pick on something you said there, reference the losing fighter. It seems to me like Conor Benn, although he lost the fight, but he fought his heart out. He gave the fans, we were edge of our seat type stuff. Now, it looked like on the US side of things, I mean, we get the press conferences and the weigh-ins and all that, they're fun. You're getting people arguing with each other. People want to fight each other. People rolling up with wrestling masks on and Teofimo Lopez. It's entertainment. But when it comes down to the entertainment in the ring, I feel like the US market is missing something. I feel like they're not very offensive, they're quite defensive, and they're scared to lose. And then we know what Turkey has said. They said we need to go for the US model. It doesn't matter if you lose, if you get bite your heart out, you can come back. Do you feel like some of the US fighters need that? Because I think the United States right now is struggling for that superstar.
I agree, completely on the money. They are struggling for that superstar. If there is one superstar, it's Tank Davis, but he's fairly inactive. We
Mhm.
will see a good card, I think. I can't remember what the date of it is now, but the Zepeda and
12th of July,
Czechoslovakia.
July 12th.
Oh,
Is it?
that's the July 12th card. Of course it is. Hamza Shiraz and Edgar Berlanga. That's really set up to deliver, and I think it will. Um, this was a peculiar one in that, and I said it last week to a few people, it's got the hallmarks of something might go wrong here in terms of if you create semi-finals in boxing, it doesn't always work out that you get the two finalists. Now we're going to talk about the potential of Haney and Teo Lopez fighting at 140. Haney didn't look like a 143 fighter or a welterweight fighter to me. He
Mm.
looked like a 140 fighter. Teo and Haney, yes. Ryan Garcia, I think you throw him in with Conor Benn right now over here in the UK, because I'd love to see that if they aren't going to go ahead straight away with the Chris Eubank Conor Benn fight, which Eddie Hearn says they're going to do, and that'll probably be late September,
Mhm.
I imagine, late September, October, when there's still time to get outdoors because they need a stadium fight. But I completely agree with you. Turkey Al Sheikh's investing in America at the moment. We've got the super fight in September now
Mhm.
on a Friday in Vegas, which I find a bit odd. At Allegiant Stadium, 70,000 people. Apparently, because they don't want to go up against the basketball at the weekend. That's what some people are saying, but I just think it's an odd one. I don't know what they've got planned for the Saturday. Maybe another event, but
Mm.
yeah, there's a rhythm that's needed in America at the moment, and they're not pulling the crowds like we pull the crowds either.
I want to stay on Devin Haney because I seen Bill Haney. Obviously, he fights his son's Conor, which is rightfully so. And he went at Dan Raphael. Now, you've been there with Big John and Johnny Fisher. It's almost like when you criticize a fighter from a performance, the coach or the father is going to get involved and give you criticism back. When Dan Raphael, when Bill Haney went against Dan Raphael, you know what he's, like I say, you've been there with Big John. Do you feel like it's fair for the coach or the dad to go at you? Because you're just giving an honest opinion, aren't you? You're not really, that's what you're paid to do. You're paid to give an opinion, and it's your opinion. So, do you feel like boxing needs to be just a wee bit more? It's okay to give an opinion, so to speak. It seems like
Yeah,
we're
it always
criticizing.
was. It always was. Something's changed in all of that. Um, Bill Haney was calling out Todd Grisham the other day as well, and calling him a shit or whatever he was, or a turncoat, or um, and presumably, I haven't seen Dan's comments. Full disclosure, but presumably he's saying that Haney just didn't deliver and was on his bike, because
Exactly.
that's what he was. He didn't deliver and he was on his bike, and I'll even call him gun shy.
Mm.
I thought he looked gun shy against Jose Benavides, who's a come forward fighter. We saw the fight with Josh Taylor. He met him head on, didn't he?
Mhm.
He knocked him down, he met him head on, and he beat him at his own game. Haney did not look like he wanted to engage. I mean, round after round after round. Yes, he won because he's so skillful as a fighter. Bill will say, listen, my son was on his way back from a catastrophic no contest that was a loss, where he was knocked down 4 times, wasn't it?
Yeah.
He was knocked down.
Do you think was it?
Three, but in your mind, he was knocked down over and over and over again by Ryan Garcia, wasn't he?
Mhm.
In a terrific fight as it was, um, you know, a year ago, even though obviously Garcia served a year ban and doesn't look like himself anymore, weirdly, and earned, I understand, 20 million US dollars for the fight. No, I think we are within our rights to critique the fighters. What we mustn't be is cruel ever, because
Mhm.
that's not in our nature. We must have empathy. But at the same time, you've got to say it as you see it. And there is no question that that was a below par Devin Haney.
You touched on Ryan Garcia with Conor Benn. I want to go back to the Conor Benn Eubank fight. I mean, the show within itself. I spoke to guys in the gym this morning, and they're asking me will the rematch happen. Like, does the rematch have that same sort of show behind it? I mean, with Chris Eubank Senior rocking up late like a WWE thing, and Adam Smith, who was the best when he went, he's here, and all that drama. Are we going to get that with the rematch?
No, it won't be the same, but there's still a lot of money on the table. We're understanding that, you know, my understanding is that Turkey Al Sheikh wants the second fight, Ring Magazine, Fatal Fury of the City of the Wolves.
Mhm.
Um, you know, they were so good the first time. It was just close enough if you scored two swing rounds to give it a draw to Ben and Eubank. I scored it 8-4, by the way. I gave two swing rounds to Chris Eubank Jr. It was an amazing occasion. It will live long in the memory. It was a street fight, not a boxing match. It was clear from the last few rounds who was the bigger man. I am concerned about Chris Eubank boiling down in weight again. I have already written a column in the Telegraph saying we shouldn't see it again, because he ended up in hospital with 36 hours on a drip with chronic hydration. He will have to go through the same thing again, and his health is at risk. So I see and I do understand the concerns of Eubank Senior, even though there's a degree of why was he there then? Yes, he was supporting his son, but I do understand his concerns. I think they'll have the second fight. There's so much money involved. They will probably earn 10 million each for the second fight. Eubank will probably get a fine again because there's no way he can boil his body down to 160. He didn't manage it within a cream egg, Cadbury's cream egg, did he? That cost him 375k, to which the normal mortal is going, I just can't believe that. He's also going to be investigated for the way he lost weight. So, look, it delivered in droves. I agree with you, and I feel your sentiment. It doesn't need to happen again. That should be it now, because they are weight divisions for a reason. They are weight divisions apart. It's set up for a 168 fight for Eubank next against a Canelo-style opponent, and it's set up for Conor Benn to go and fight all those welterweights now over in America. And he might be the golden goose for them, because they might be able to come here and 50,000 fans would watch him and Ryan Garcia. 50,000 fans would watch him and Devin Haney. 50,000 fans would watch him and Teo Lopez. And I think at the moment, Garcia is probably the easiest of those fights for him.
I agree. And you touched on the Chris Eubank stuff, because obviously, as a boxing fan, I would like to see Conor Benn versus Ryan Garcia, but then you touched on Chris Eubank Jr. Now, I spoke to Canelo out in Saudi, and he said, before I retire, I will fight in the UK. And I said, you promise? He said, I promise you, I will fight in the UK. Now, he's going to have to fight a UK super middleweight. Who's the top dog at super middleweight for us in the UK? It's a big enough name that's going to do that stadium, a Wembley, a Tottenham. Is it Chris Eubank Jr. or do we have another one?
Well, he's fought everyone else, hasn't he, really? I mean, it could be a Hamza Shiraz at super middleweight, which is what they are definitely looking at. But he's got to get through a very difficult fight, in my view, against Edgar Berlanga, who's very hittable, but hits very hard himself.
Yep.
And again, it's a step up in weight for Hamza, which is... Can I just pause it one second? I've got my gardener trying to get in through my gates.
No worries. When you go, yeah, I'll pause it.
Just one second.
No worries. No worries.
Just 1 second. Sorry, Andy.
It's okay.
Right. Hamza Shiraz, very difficult fight against Edgar Berlanga, very hittable, but very powerful. And Hamza's stepping up for the first time. I think those extra £8 will be brilliant for him. And, I understand that fight's in New York as well. So, of course, we've discussed it. Really looking forward to it. Chris Eubank Jr. or Hamza Shiraz are the guys for Canelo, who's already fought, is it 8 or 9 Brits?
Oh, we could try and name them, but he has fought a few, hasn't he? He has fought a few. Ryan Rose, Matthew Hatton, Callum Smith, Liam Smith, Billy Joe Saunders,
Amir Khan.
Amir Khan.
Billy Joe. Oh, you've done Billy Joe.
5, 6, 7.
Rocky Fielding.
Rocky Fielding 7. I think it is 7. Matthew Hatton, Ryan Rhodes at the start, wasn't it? And all them guys. But anyway, he's beat them all. He's beat every single.
And John Ryder.
John Ryder. Well done, guys.
It's eight.
Well done. And John Ryder's most recent one. We should have really got that quicker.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I want to go to Saudi then. Canelo's performance against William Skull. Skull done what he needed to do to try and win the fight. Again, a Devin Haney-ish type performance on his bike, circling the ring. I think I saw a stat somewhere saying it was the least punches thrown in a championship fight. The second
in an undisputed.
Gareth, speak to me. As a boxer,
Well, as I said, I went to Dubai. I did crypto fight nights. I came back. I stayed up late Friday night. Got back Friday. Stayed up till 3 in the morning. Did my Talk Sports show 9 till midnight. Stayed up till 5 in the morning. Then last night or 2 nights ago, Last night, no, the night before last, stayed up for Noya Nui, and I'll be honest with you, the only one I didn't need coffee for was Noya Nui. But I had to have about two Red Bulls and two coffees to stay awake for Canelo Skull. Bacoli and Najegba was also a weird fight where they were literally saying, "You slap me, I'll slap you, I'll hit you." No one really wanted to take the bull by the horns in that fight, and I get the draw, even though I thought Bacoli came late and was too heavy and came late in the fight and did well the last three rounds of the 10. But honestly, I was watching the Skull fight. You were there live, and you will have heard as well that Canelo earned 80 million US dollars for this fight, and Skull $5 million reportedly. Skull didn't engage, and I was thinking, come on, you're doing really well here, but start engaging and then get out. Start engaging and then get out. And Canelo was happy to sit and land 7, 8, 9 punches around and was winning it easily. It was such an odd fight. It was like a sparring session with two guys employing the tactics that they would use against another person. It was very, very odd. And to hear Skull say he thought he won it afterwards was baffling. And so was Canelo's desire not to go in there and throw combinations. He landed a lot to the body. He was quite effective, but it really wasn't exciting fair in any shape or form. Roll on Terence Crawford, Saul Canelo Alvarez. And I think Canelo showed that he can be outboxed on the outside, because if Crawford moves like that and engages a little bit, like he did against Madrimov in lots of ways, I think he can win on points.
Well, let's talk about then. Obviously, Crawford's been hanging about for this fight for so long. Now, there's loads of variables in this fight in itself. Crawford would be nearly 40, 13 months out the ring, up against a younger man, albeit more miles on the clock, in Canelo. Upper weight, super middleweight, Canelo's been hit by light heavyweights. There's so many things you can look at this fight and break it down and pick your winner. When you do look at this fight, Gareth, who is the favourite? Is it Canelo or is it Crawford?
Canelo's the favourite, but I do see Crawford maybe winning a very close points decision, and I think they'll have two fights, because I think someone will see it as controversial.
Yeah.
Some people will see it as controversial. I think it will be very, very close. I don't see Crawford being knocked out. I see him being very smart in the fight. Again, they're probably going to earn 80 and 70 million US dollars for this fight. It's enormous. I still find it odd that it's a Friday, as I say, and Allegiant Stadium, 70,000 people, first event Allegiant Stadium. It's the big event in America for the year. They've got no heavyweights right now. There's no heavyweight boxing which surpasses all other fights. That's why if Fury and Joshua fight here this year in the UK, or even early next year, it's still the biggest fight out there. It's still bigger than Crawford and Canelo, in my view.
Well, we spoke to AJ. A couple more from me, Gareth, and then I'll let you enjoy the rest of your day. We spoke to AJ. Wrap it up. Wrap it up. We spoke to Anthony Joshua, myself, and Coogan out in Saudi, and he's now
I watched it.
he's undergoing an operation on his elbow, so it looks like he'll be out in the autumn.
I thought this was 2 months ago. Did you not think this was a couple of months ago?
Yeah.
I mean, I found that I watched your interview and I thought, hang on a minute. I've been hearing about the elbow injury for 2 months. So why hasn't he had the surgery already? It was a bit strange.
I suppose he's been travelling a lot, hasn't he? He's been out of the country, so. But on the piggybacking off that, he did have a meeting with Turkey, and he spoke about a 2-fight deal with Turkey Al Sheikh. Now, when I'm looking at the 2-fight deal, all I can see is Tyson Fury in that deal. I don't know who else he could fight, or maybe somebody else.
Deontay Wilder. Deontay Wilder. If Wilder knocks out the guy he's about to fight,
right?
In my view, because I could see that being a viable fight in this era, and it's one we've never had. If Deontay looks all right, knocking out, I can't remember the guy's name right now. If he knocks him out, I think the Joshua fight is viable.
So 2-fight deal. We're looking at possibly Wilder and then hopefully Tyson Fury going into next year.
Well, who else is there? Is it Joseph Parker? Is it who else is it? Who is it going to be? I mean,
You,
is it the Dubois rematch if Dubois beats Usyk? But in a way, unless he's going to fight Tyson Fury, he kind of needs a win.
mm. And so I suppose Tyson Fury does as well, doesn't he? He said he'll come out of retirement if he gets his third fight with Usyk. I mean, Usyk, I think, has got a tough fight against Dubois this time round because Dubois is on a fantastic run of form, especially his last three performances. So again, that's why we're talking, Gareth, because boxing is the greatest sport in the world in terms of it gives us storylines, but sometimes the product in the ring doesn't quite pull it off.
Yeah, but the only thing I disagree with Fury is he's had two very close fights with Usyk.
Hmm.
Um, Certainly, round by round, they were close, even though Usyk was a convincing winner, I think, in both. Um, I think Joshua's had a different template given what happened to him against Daniel Dubois, that he was taken apart a little bit and that he's in a different place. I think Fury and Usyk works right now. I mean, Fury's team have even mentioned to me he'd have a third fight with Alexander Usyk if he could have it as well. But that's only in the fighter's mind. You know, he just wants to avenge defeat. He
Yeah,
believes he could beat him. But Usyk's probably got his number. Usyk's probably got Dubois' number as well, if that goes beyond 5 or 6 rounds. I still see Usyk as a big favourite, but I wouldn't write Daniel off.
definitely. One final one from me then, Gareth. Overall thoughts and emotions from the fights this past weekend?
Well, Neuer Nui was brilliant again against Ramon Cardenas. He's an absolute lunatic early on in a fight and kind of throws himself into a brawl, as he calls it. Well done, Cardenas, dropping him. I think it was in the second round
Yep.
from a terrific hook. It was a brilliant hook that got him down. But all it does is it wakes the monster up. And I thought he was brilliant. I mean, maybe you could say the stoppage was a little bit premature, but Ramon Cardenas did not complain about it. He was happy to be in the fight. He'd only lost once 8 years ago to Danny Flores on a majority decision, 10 rounds. But I think that thrilled. I was so glad I stayed up for that. Only 8,500 at the T-Mobile Arena. Again,
Wow.
not a full arena. Um, but I think he might have found his weight limit for a reason ceiling at super featherweight, at super bantamweight. I'm not sure about him going up to featherweight anymore.
Interesting. Nick Ball, they've been talking about that fight as well. Nick Ball's going to,
I've been pushing that fight I've been pushing it like a promoter for about a year.
yeah. Well, listen, maybe you should get your promoter's license in, Gareth, and see what you can do. See if
Ma-
you
ma- Maybe one day, but no day soon.
no day soon. Listen, you're doing a fantastic job as you do in Talksport. Right, Gareth? Enjoy your day. Bye bye. Listen, Gareth, I do appreciate your time. The sun is shining, so enjoy the rest of your day. And I look forward to talking to you again very, very soon.
No, always a pleasure, Andy. Lovely to see you.
You too, Gareth. Have a good day, and I'll speak to you soon, mate.
Cheers,
Bye
buddy.
now. Bye bye.